SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom was released on October 31st, 2003, and today it is well known for not only being the best SpongeBob video game, but also one of the best licensed video games ever released. This is because of the amount of effort that was put into this game by everyone involved to make a quality product instead of a quick cash grab like many other licensed games both at the time and even today. But of course, this is the home console version that I'm talking about. Now the version of this game that I plan on talking about today is the one that was released for the Gameboy Advance to see if that port had as much love and care put into it as the console version did, and to see if it holds up as well as that version despite being on a less powerful handheld platform. In yet another attempt to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula, Plankton creates a robot army but unfortunately forgets to switch his Obey Plankton switch from off to on, which leaves the robots to roam aimlessly and destroy Bikini Bottom in the process. This has been recreated in the GBA port, but with a minor difference. In the console version, SpongeBob believes himself and Patrick are to blame for the robot menace because they wish that their toy robots would become real. With this plot point removed, instead of SpongeBob taking it upon himself to rid the town of robots, it is replaced with him being pushed by Mr. Krabs to do so because the robots are scaring off customers and stealing Krabby Patties. I find this to be a weird change to the plot, as SpongeBob is very out of character being so passive in such an event instead of being proactive and trying to solve the problem that is currently facing him and his community. The Game Boy Advance is well known for its vibrant colors and smooth cartoony graphics, and this game is no exception. By taking advantage of this game was able to closely emulate the style of the show in a 2D fashion, just like how the console version was able to do so in 3D. This game is colorful, the background in every stage is hand-drawn, and overall, almost everything in this game is appealing to the eye. The only thing I would say is a bit off are the character sprites. I don't know if it's just me or what, but they don't seem to be 100% accurate, especially when compared to the console version. On the other hand, the sprites for the robot enemies in this port of the game are completely unique from the console version, and I would say that their designs are just as good as those versions are. This game attempts to be a small-scale collectathon platformer in the same vein as its 3D counterpart, but because of hardware constraints, it is on an even smaller scale. Instead of collecting shiny objects and being on the lookout for Patrick's lost socks, you will instead just be limited to only grabbing Krabby Patties and golden spatulas. Alongside this are the aspects that you would expect from any platformer, which is jumping, exploring, and attacking enemies. Although when it comes to that third aspect, there's a lot more to it than just defeating enemies. You see, every time a robot is destroyed, it immediately respawns. This is because they are needed to solve the many puzzles throughout the game. Puzzles that involve pushing boxes and powered down robots, creating and removing platforms, collecting keys, and pressing down pressure plates to open doors, all in the name of progressing through the levels. The controls are about as standard for a platformer as you can get, with jumping and gliding being tied to the A button and the ability to attack being set to the B button. But for as simple as the controls are, I would also say that they are a bit delayed. I say this because SpongeBob will take a second to jump when prompted to, and that is the same for when he is attacking. However, the same cannot be said about his movement, as he will immediately move in either direction and stop as soon as you let go of the D-pad without any extra sliding. This game is split up into 4 chapters, with each consisting of 6 stages and 1 boss, as well as a set of unlockable bonus levels. The chapters themselves don't seem to have any unifying theme outside of just being the home to the stages. The stages themselves, as well as the bosses, are taken directly from the console version with their own 2D spin, but with a few reworks and additions. These include locations such as Jellyfish Field, Sand Mountain, and the Mermlair. The reworks come in the form of the changed areas that were just boss arenas in the console version to becoming full-fledged stages. These stages being the Industrial Plant and Chum Bucket Lab. As for what was added is the boss fight with a robot Squidward that was scrapped from the console version, as well as the bonus stages that can be accessed if you were to collect all 20 Krabby Patties within a stage. These bonus stages will see SpongeBob speeding around on either his tandem bike or in the invisible boatmobile to collect even more Krabby Patties to unlock pictures and gifts from the show. Unlike the console version of this game, which for the most part is a cakewalk, this version can be pretty difficult. To start off, unlike in the main version of this game, you have a life counter, which is very annoying because this means that if you were to lose all of them, you would get a game over then have to restart the level from the beginning because this version also doesn't have any checkpoints. There is also the fact that you die after only 3 hits, which is very annoying since if you die while doing a puzzle, its progress will get reset. As for the puzzles themselves, I would say that they start off simple but quickly become very intense, especially for a kid's game. Everything else that factors into the difficulty, such as the enemies and bosses, aren't too bad, but it is more than made up for with the many pitfalls that most of the time tend to cover up the entirety of the bottom of the screen. When it comes to the music of the handheld version of any game, the tracks in it are either bit crush versions of the music from the console version, or something completely different. This game does the latter, with it having a completely original soundtrack. Overall, I would honestly say that the music in this version is actually pretty good, but that it definitely gets outshined by the console version, which is a bit unfortunate, but to be expected. The music for most of the game is jovial, while for the bosses it's intense, and for some of the other stages it's unsettling. Overall, the music is enjoyable and fits the stages and the world of SpongeBob just as well as the console version's music does, even if it is undercut by the Gameboy Advance's less powerful audio capabilities. So, would I say that this version of Battle for Bikini Bottom is as good as the console version, or a good rendition of it in 2D? To the first question I would say no, but to the second question I would say yes. It is near impossible for the port of this game on weaker hardware to outshine the greatness of the home console version. Despite this hindrance, this version of Battle for Bikini Bottom still manages to take the necessary elements from its 3D companion as well as add its own unique elements to create a challenging and engaging 2D platformer. Having come to this conclusion, I will not change the verdict I had in the original review. I would still recommend this game and say that it is worth picking up and giving a play. Thanks for watching.